So much has been said about the Citizenship Amendment Act. With the noise and negative narrative around the act, there is an attempt to create confusion in minds of people. Mamata Banerjee says CAA will put Muslims in detention camps. Owaisi believes CAA will reduce Muslims to second-class citizens in India. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan claims that through CAA, the central government wants to destroy the constitution. His counterpart in Tamil Nadu, MK Stalin, has accused BJP of using CAA as a tool to further its communal politics. Congress's Jairam Ramesh is of the opinion that citizenship on the basis of religion is unconstitutional. PDP's Mehbooba Mufti claims CAA has been implemented to create another partition. Congress ally IUML, which went to Supreme Court against CAA, has claimed that the act gives unfair advantage to community only on grounds of religion. Today, viewers, Supreme Court of India refused to stay the implementation of CAA and asked the government to respond to 237 petitions. Yes, you heard that right. 237 petitions challenging the law that was notified by the Modi government. To counter the disinformation on the Citizenship Amendment Act and to put facts without any hyperbole, we have Supreme Court lawyer and author Sai Deepak and Dr. Anand Ranganathan. We also have Mr. Sarvanan, national spokesperson of the DMK, Riju Datta, national spokesperson of the TMC, and Nalin Kohli, national spokesperson of the BJP. Now, Mr. Sarvanan, let's go one by one. What is your objection to the CAA? You ask the question, Sai Deepak will respond.
See, CAA is a law which discriminates people on the basis of religion. India is a secular country. Nobody can be discriminated because they profess a particular religion. There may be the defense, the BJP says it is only open for a certain community of people. It excludes people from the Muslim community. So therefore, on that ground, we are saying CAA cannot test the constitutionality.
Okay. Let's have a response.
It is running afoul of Article 14.
Article 14. It runs foul of Article 14. There's a long piece that Sai Deepak had written in 2020. But, you know, because we have Sai live, hear it from him.
Who is he? Who is he? Is he the author of the Indian Constitution?
Who should we call? No, who do you need?
Judgment?
Who should we call?
No. Why? So what if he says?
Stalin.
So what?
He's a lawyer, sir. He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer. Here his arguments, counter him on facts.
Yeah, he's a lawyer. That's what. That's what. No. You are saying, you are asked though. Oh, Mr. Sai Deepak has written. So what? We are saying so what?
You can counter him on facts. Don't get worked up, Mr. Sarvan, please. Sai.
No, I'm not getting worked up. It is you who are getting worked. Who are getting excited.
No, I think. Praneshji, I think you may have stoked his ego. It's okay, don't worry. I think we'll just stick to the facts. So, point is very simple. I think these are done to death cliched arguments. And I say this with no disrespect to the other gentleman, but only with no respect for his position. Because as far as I am concerned, Article 14 does not apply to this decision or to this legislation. Because in the context of citizenship, the union government enjoys greater prerogative and it has no obligation to follow an open door policy in the context of both asylum and citizenship. That's point number one. There are at least two judgments of the Supreme Court, specifically in the context of the availability of Article 14 rights to foreigners, saying that other than manifest arbitrariness, there is absolutely no basis for any foreigner to avail of Article 14. And this does not even apply to those people who are yet to enter the territory of Bharat. The Article 14 judgments that have been delivered by the Supreme Court in the context of foreigners was in the context of those foreigners who had already entered. When their rights are limited, imagine what kind of rights a foreigner can have. Effectively, the argument that is being made by the other side is that any person from Tibet, or let's say from the Uyghur province of China, or any person who's persecuted in Palestine, or any person who's persecuted anywhere in Middle East, should have the same rights as the Hindus of Pakistan to the doors of Bharat, because Bharat claims to be a secular state. According to me, this argument doesn't work. One, because this is not a provision for exclusion, it is a provision for limited inclusion.
Therefore, the doors of asylumship and citizenship for every other person through the conventional route under the Citizenship Act continues to be open. There is no discrimination on that front. The only difference is the domiciliary requirement of 11 years, which has been reduced to 6 years. Beyond that, there is absolutely no change whatsoever in principle. So the point that we have to understand is that when people say, what do we do to Ahmadiyas? What do we do to Rohingyas? I'm surprised. All these people are so concerned about the plight of Ahmadiyas and Rohingyas. Not one has managed to raise a little finger to point out the plight of Hindus who are being persecuted across these states. So they think of the Ahmadiyas, they think of everybody else only to defeat the rights of persecuted Hindus, because the fundamental argument that is sought to be defeated is that Bharat is the natural homeland of Hindus. That is an argument that they don't want to concede under any circumstances. They are saying Bharat, because it's a secular state, is equally a home to everybody else in the world. That is the argument that they wish to present. It's civilizationally stupid and ahistoric. Constitutionally, it has no basis whatsoever. And 3, Article 14 does not apply.
Mr. Sarvanan is not convinced.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, can I answer? Yeah, see, we have yet another problem with the CAA. See, Sri Lankan Tamils, they are Hindus, they are persecuted by Sinhalese majority, but the CAA leaves out Sri Lankan Tamils who are here from the purview of CAA. So we are saying this is discriminatory, and when you are saying the other thing is available, Article 11 years is there, you are giving a special treatment to someone else. We are saying that is discriminatory. That is the basis for discrimination.
Okay.
That is why we are saying it is running afoul. See, that's what every conceivable opportunity, BJP does not take into the consideration of the welfare of the Tamils or the people from Tamil Nadu.
Right.
That is why we opposed. We moved an amendment. Our leader, Mr. Trichy Shiva, moved an amendment which included Muslims and also Sri Lankan Tamils.
Right. Point taken. Mr. Sarvanan, point taken. Let's have that answer from Sai.
You know, the only set of organizations which have actually gone to Sri Lanka to actually address the situation of Sri Lankan Hindus, or Tamil Hindus, so to speak, in Sri Lanka, are actually organizations relating to VHP and other organizations who had to go specifically to preserve the rights of the Tamil community with respect to the Kadirgamar temple. I am surprised that the DMK has no love lost for the Hindus of Tamil Nadu, but suddenly thinks of Tamil Hindus and their rights when it comes to the context of Sri Lanka. This must be a historical position in the history of DMK. 2, please realize one thing. The position of Tamil Hindus has significantly improved after the destruction of this organization called LTT, which Dravidinist forces supported all along. 2, why hasn't the DMK or any other party deemed it fit to make a representation to any Indian government with respect to accelerated citizenship for Tamil Hindus before the CAA or before the CAB in its earlier avatar in 2016? This is an issue that is being raised for the very first time to politicize a humanitarian intervention. Until then, they did not even deem it fit to raise this issue. Nobody bothered to ask what was the status of the Hindus of Sri Lanka or the Tamils of Sri Lanka or their temples or their institutions when it was being ravaged by war. It was the Indian government that kept doing this on a regular basis before the BJP and after the BJP. So I am not going to give sole credit to the BJP in this regard. However, it is Hindu organizations which actually went to Sri Lanka to address the situation of Sri Lankan Tamil Hindus. That's a fact. And DMK certainly cannot step up out of the blue to start taking credit for it. They've done nothing so far.
Riju
So,
Datta,
according to me, these are matters of international relations, and if Bharat and its government is in a position to come to the conclusion that it can lean on the Sri Lankan government to protect the interest of Tamil Hindus better, and it does not need to provide for a CAA, that is the option. Since unfortunately, either Pakistan or Afghanistan, which is controlled by Taliban today, or Bangladesh, takes care of the condition of Hindu minorities there, we are forced to provide for a CAA. Had that not been the case, the CAA would be completely irrelevant and unnecessary.
Riju Datta, are you convinced?
Not at all. I have got. I'm going to ask political questions because I'm representing a political party, and I've got very pointed questions. Anybody can answer, the BJP or Dr. Ranganathan. First question is: we are giving citizenship to the persecuted Hindus in Islamic nations. Very good, no problem, no issues. But my question is, you have excluded the Muslims. Why have you included Christians and Buddhists? Because they have majority countries. The Christians have the Europe and the America. The Buddhists have Nepal, Bhutan and Sri Lanka. You could have done this law only for Hindus. Secondly, because religion in my country cannot be the sole reason to say that you are a citizen or a refugee, we believe, TMC believes it's unconstitutional, so we will not implement it in Bengal.
Okay.
Now my second pointed question.
No, sir, Riju Datta, please, if you don't mind. Mr. Datta, if you don't mind, let's take this one by one. That's a fair question you've asked. I'll come back to you, sir. Let's have a sharp response to it. Now, I'll get the political bit from Nalin Kohli. Dr. Ranganathan also wants to come in. But Sai Deepak, the issue is that the charge is, in fact, that this is religious discrimination. Short answer on that.
Okay. If the TMC swears by the Constitution, under which provision of the Constitution do they get to say that this piece of central legislation will not be implemented by the state government of West Bengal and Bengal? Please. Under which provision of constitutional morality do they get to say
this? You as a lawyer know that I'm telling sir, Mr. Deepak, you know that tomorrow morning one of our MPs, Mehbooba Mufti, her petition is online and it is next in line to be heard by the Supreme Court. We will fight it by the legal system. I am sure the legal system will give us, in all its wisdom, will give us its views and we will follow it. Now, you did not answer my question, which I actually asked you, that if you are saying giving security to Hindus persecuted in Islamic countries, why have you included Christians and Buddhists when they have their own countries? So that was question number one. Question number two. Let me finish my questions and all the questions can be answered. Sure. Let me just finish. Sure. Second point, the India government has already clarified that they are giving citizenship initially by CAA to only 31,000 odd people. Then why do you do it just before Lok Sabha so that you can get political dividends out of it? You have given only 31,000. You could have done it after 6 months. Third question. The ex-governor of a state and a senior BJP leader, Tathagato Rai, has tweeted and said that and he has tagged Pradhan Mantri Modi and the Home Minister, that citizenship should be only given to those people after they have been physically inspected by the Home Ministry. Physical inspection of their male genitalia, whether they are circumcised or not.
Right.
Does Pradhan Mantri Modi or BJP condone this statement? And my last question is, the shipping minister of India, and I cannot stress this enough, the shipping minister of India, Shantanu Thakur, who is being given the candidacy, the ticket to fight the Lok Sabha election from Bonga in West Bengal, has openly now that I am going to file for my citizenship via CAA. So a minister in Modi's cabinet.
We'll get that. We'll get all the three questions answered.
He is not a citizen of India.
Riju Datta.
That is a national threat.
Right.
Can you please answer?
Right.
All my questions are done.
Yeah, the first two questions Sai will answer. That I'll get Dr. Ranganathan and Nalin Kohli to answer the last question.
Since I don't hold brief for the BJP, the political questions I leave it for the political representative to answer. Let me answer two questions first off. One, as far as the argument that the petition filed by Ms. Moitra is concerned answers the question, that petition does not answer the question of the provision whatsoever. That petition at best challenges the CAA. It does not answer the question of which provision gives the TMC government in the state of West Bengal to say it shall not implement the CAA in West Bengal. That's point number one. Point number two, why only the Christians, why not others? Well, here's a straight answer to this. There is no reason for the Indian government to trust Pakistani Muslims, Afghan Muslims, or Bangladeshi Muslims. And two, I, as a practicing Hindu in Bharat, clearly have a heightened sense of suspicion as far as these three communities from these three states are concerned, given the history of their treatment of Hindus in their part of the world and the treatment of Hindus in undivided Bharat. Three, as far as Hindus are concerned and as far as Christians are concerned, you must realize, why is it that Pakistani Christians have a particular origin? These were people who converted to Christianity when they did not have anybody else to help them at the time of partition, because while everybody else was being forced to vacate that part of the world, thanks to partition, these people were literally orphans. These issues are covered, if I may say so, even in the 2012 press statement released by the CPIM as part of its Politburo statement through its mouthpiece, specifically saying all these are communities who come from the Dalit communities of the Hindu community originally, who were forced to convert to Christianity. Therefore, the primary population which populates this, let's say this refugee community, are the Shudras and the Nam Shudras. This is the language used by the CPIM as part of its 2012
It's
statement.
all documented. You're right.
It's all documented. And this they had to do because they had to cleanse their bloodied hands after the Marie Jhapi massacre, where they butchered people who were actually stranded on that island. Therefore, the fact of the matter is, we have recognized that these are vulnerable communities whose religious identity of today is the consequence of historical circumstances, who are otherwise persecuted, who otherwise belong to Bharat's civilizational identity.
Right.
That is the clear fact. Second, when people speak of Ahmadiyas and others, please see the statements issued by Ahmadiyas even now and before, where they call themselves the founding communities of Pakistan, who actually fought for Pakistan, who continued to justify the persecution of Hindus in the name of blasphemy laws in Pakistan. Therefore, I would like to understand, why do some of these political parties in Bharat, why do their hearts bleed for Ahmadiyas who are founding communities of Pakistan?
Right. The point is that people who celebrate discrimination on religious lines, why should they be getting the benefit of this? Let's, address the question, Dr. Ranganathan, of timing. All political parties, without exception, have linked this to polls.
So, Pranesh, yes, on timing, it is suspect. There is no doubt about it. But then, are we saying that BJP and Mr. Narendra Modi is a sadhu sant and not a politician? That he is not going to extract a morsel of advantage, political advantage, if he can? I mean, whom are we kidding out here? Have we forgotten that he is one politician and there are amongst thousands of politicians, including Didi, who plays timing almost sometimes to perfection? So let's not go down that road. But I wanted to first of all castigate you, because it's terribly unfair that you brought Sai to the debate. The only thing that's been slapped more than the illogic of DMK is a kabaddi player's upper thigh. Sai should apologize. I want to make a couple of points out here, and both are important. One, I want to once and for all dispel all the irrational and illogic of people when they are against the CAA. And they say they are not just against the CAA, they are also against the CAA because it is going to be coupled with CAA and NRC. So Pranesh, just bear with me for 2.5 minutes, because I think this is very important. Your viewers would like to know the facts out here. I have said this before and I repeat, the CAA is morally just because the border countries are Islamic Republic, Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh, and therefore Muslims are not the minority. And the CAA is about India granting citizenship, correcting a historical wrong to those who are persecuted because they are not the followers of the majority religion of Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. Because it doesn't make sense to include all persecuted Muslims in Muslim majority nations. Should we suddenly now open doors to 59 million Shia Muslims as well as persecuted Ahmadiyas by the Sunni Muslims? Because CAA is about granting citizenship, not asylum, as India already grants asylum to lakhs of Muslims, including the Rohingyas and the Afghans. Because those calling this act Islamophobic ignore the fact that 500,000 ethno-religiously cleansed Sri Lankan Tamil Hindus currently settled in India are also excluded. So are we Islamophobic because of that? Because the Congress in 2015 demanded citizenship be granted to Bangladeshi minorities. But because the BJP granted it, they are up in arms. Now I ask you, are Bangladeshi minorities Muslims or are they non-Muslims? Why did Congress demand a citizenship for them? And because the CAA is an amnesty, and only after this amnesty would come the NRC. As the CAA amnesty became operational on December 31st, 2019, one would expect, Pranesh, that all eligible non-Muslim refugees would have already applied for the amnesty. Still, a Muslim Indian without documents cannot. But a non-Muslim Indian without documents can still commit perjury,
right,
and ask for the CAA amnesty, as the latter is applicable till perpetuity. Therefore, in order for both non-Muslim and Muslim Indians to be in the same boat during the NRC, the amnesty part of the CAA should either be repealed or a deadline set for it before the commencement of the NRC. So while I approve of and applaud both the CAA and the NRC, it is worth pondering, Pranesh. it is worth pondering over the possible scenario when they are used in combination. So please give me a minute, it's very important.
No, Dr. Ranganathan, I'll have to bring in Mr. Kohli, and before you answer the political question, Mr. Kohli, I just want to make it clear that the Solicitor General today in Supreme Court said that let's not conflate the two. CAA is not NRC. So, that point underlined. Mr. Kohli, answer the question asked by Riju Datta.
I won't answer the question on Riju Datta. I think it's more important we move away from passions and come down to a few simple points on CAA. I think your viewers deserve that.
Because you do not have an answer.
There is a lot of myth and lies being spoken about, also falsehood about CAA. CAA has nothing to do with the citizenship of any Indian citizen, whether he is Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Parsi, Jew. It has nothing to do with it. So this fear psychosis, first, on falsehood being built, that the Indian Muslim is going to suffer or get challenged or become second class is a blatant lie. Nothing more, nothing less. Next, CAA has to do with a historical wrong, which is the word that Anand used. But essentially, it has to be read in the context of partition. Partition of India essentially involved creation of Pakistan, which eventually becomes a Bangladesh and a Pakistan. And you have to bear in mind that under Ranjit Singh, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, India extended, or Bharat extended, up to Afghanistan. That's why, at the time of partition, there were 200,000 or 2 lakh Sikh community people in Afghanistan who are down to 500 today. 23% Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, Sikhs in Pakistan down to less than 10%. And the same is the story for Bangladesh. Now, these people don't have an option to go to another country, particularly the Hindus. Christians could go to another country, Buddhists could go, but where would a Sikh go? He could essentially come back to the motherland, which is this, or a Hindu. So essentially, these Indian children, if I may call them children of India or Bharat, who chose to stay there or couldn't come to Bharat in 47, they are the ones who are being given an opportunity to come here, not to be persecuted, raped, killed, maimed, or forcibly converted.
Right. And for others seeking citizenship, there are other provisions of the law that, allows them to take citizenship. We've run out of time completely, but gentlemen, thank you to all of you, each one of you, for making this discussion meaningful. Sai Deepak, Dr. Ranganathan, Nalin Kohli, Riju Datta, Mr. Sarvanan, thank you for joining us on the News Hour. Viewers, thanks for watching.